What's up, everybody? It's Ian here with Miller Garage, and I'm excited. We are starting to really pick up some traction on getting the Airstream put back together. So today I'm working on getting the underbelly, the belly pan, put in and installed. I'm doing 100% new aluminum, and everything is all going to be brand new that's going back in. So whenever I ripped everything out, you know, with the condition of the frame and everything, the underbelly was really corroded and just unusable. So I got all new aluminum. I don't remember the exact size. I'm going to have it in the description below so you can know what size I'm using and thickness and everything. And so we got all new of that. Since we are now converting it into a mobile coffee shop, we're not going to be having the holding tanks down in the underbelly like they are normally. So the fresh water is going to be a completely new concession tank that's going to be up in the main part so that it can be accessible for any repairs, any inspection, any of that. Then the holding tank as well is going to be the gray water only because we're not putting a bathroom in it. That's going to be up there as well. And so it actually makes the underside quite a bit simpler in going back together. Now I will still be using the gray tank pan that I fabricated. I did a video on that, and the reason is because it is actually it's a steel piece and it's got reinforcing around the edge. And so from a structural standpoint, putting that in there where the axles are, because it goes basically on the underside where the axles attach, and putting that in there, it's going to add structural integrity where in the center of the frame where the axles are, and so I think that that'll be beneficial. I don't know if Airstream engineered it to have it like that, but I just feel like that's going to help out from a just adding more rigidity to the frame. The fresh tank and the black tank aren't going to be used. It's just going to replace those places with just the aluminum underbelly. So it's going to reduce our weight a little bit, which will be beneficial because we're going to be, obviously having like an espresso machine and adding the service door and all that kind of stuff. And so that's going to add weight. So this will help kind of counterbalance all of that. So I have all the pieces so far to do about the halfway mark. I have all those already measured and cut. So I won't bore you with that. Basically, you know how to measure, and from cutting, I use metal shears that I got from Eastwood. Those are going to be linked below, so you can just use that. So, I am sealing basically like all along the sides. It's going to be sealed with butyl tape, and then how I'm overlapping it, all the seams are basically going to be, it's kind of hard to explain, but they're going to be aiming backwards. So you have like one piece, and then this one will overlap, and it'll be overlapping to where the overlapping piece is aimed backwards, so that whenever the trailer is going down the road, no water can basically be being pushed in towards the seam. And I'm not sealing along those seams because you want to leave that to where, when it's riveted, it's going to be tight, but it'll still allow water. Any water that gets down in the Airstream will leak out there. The only way that it could get in is if you're driving and it, any sort of force that the water is exerting by the wind would push it in there. But with the seam being open towards the back of the trailer, essentially, that's not going to be an issue. So that'll still allow, if obviously the point is to avoid leaks, but unfortunately, these things just over time, that is a potential thing that could happen, and so you want it to get out of the underbelly as quickly as possible. So that's why even from the factory they leave those essentially the underbelly, it's left loose to where, not loose, but it's left not sealed to where the water can leak out. So we got this one ready, so we're gonna get under there and get it put in place. All right, so we have, so what I'm doing to get the piece in there, it's not that it's heavy, it's more just that I want to have it positioned properly and fitting flush up against the frame, but I'm using basically a pallet and setting it on there, and then I have a jack underneath it just to jack it up into place and hold it there. I mean, I've tried the whole like getting underneath it and holding it up, but the problem is it's really hard to hold it flush. And if the center bends down, then your sides aren't going to be positioned properly on the frame, and so you may have a bit of a bow to it once you get it riveted in place, and you really don't want that. So I used the pallet to put it up in there flush, get it centered in place, and then have it be positioned in there, and then I drill and rivet it in. I got the back one in there already, and so that's kind of how I figured out this method of doing it. It seems to work pretty good, so I'm going to get it up into position. All right, so we got it in place. The next step is just to drill it and rivet it in place. And these are the rivets I'm using. I got them from VintageTrailerSupply.com. And if you'll notice, they have a larger shank on them, or the head, or whatever that is. And you want to get ones that have that because that'll hold the belly pan better. If you have the smaller ones, there's a possibility that the belly pan is more likely to like rip out, or if there's corrosion, it might fall out easier by developing a smaller hole. So you want to go with these, and they're 5/32. And so I'm just gonna begin just drilling them along the sides, popping them in there. I'm using a pneumatic rivet gun, and just get that in. All this is pretty straightforward and easy. Using the pallet really helps position it and make sure everything's good, so highly recommend that. So the belly pan is now on there. It is all riveted up and secured, and I am glad to have that done. I think it looks amazing. It's great to see stuff come together. It kind of gives you more motivation and excitement about the project, and I think it turned out really great. It's a pain in the butt to get on there, having to lay on your back and just be drilling the holes and all that. It's exhausting, and so I'm glad to have that done and on to the next thing. So next we're going to be talking about insulation and putting it in there. That's going to be the next video, is doing the underbelly insulation, and then we're going to be putting the plywood down on it. We have that, all those pieces pretty much ready to go. I have a few more that I need to cut, but I need to get them in place to measure and to cut them for the wheel wells. But it is going together, and it's Friday, and this weekend we are getting the subflooring and the shell back on. So then it's going to be just working really hard moving forward to get this thing ready to go. Our deadline is beginning of September is whenever I want to have it done, so we can get it shipped to Florida so they can have plenty of time to get ready for their opening on the 14th. And then this thing is going to be serving coffee, which is going to be awesome, and I'm really excited. We're actually going to be going out there to go check it out and everything, so it's going to be really cool. So thank you so much for watching, and all of our social links are below, so go check us out on there. I'm trying to stay up on those channels, but especially with now that we have this as a coffee shop and that build going, I got to really just hustle on that. So pardon me if I'm not 100% on top of everything, but So I hope you have an awesome week, and we'll see you next time.